good to see you. Welcome to Boss.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and I'm so proud of you.
For those of you who have not seen Boss, one, you should. Everyone should be watching. And two, Boss is my amazing new LinkedIn video content series where I interview my amazing executive network to help others learn, network, and pay it forward in this crazy new normal that is 2020.
Wow, who am I? God, I feel like I am so many things. I always start with mother, wife, daughter, friend, leader, chief brand officer at WW, co-founder of See Her. On in any given moment, I'm wearing many different hats, but always really trying to just get the job done.
Yes. I love that. I mean, we've known each other for quite a long time.
We originally met, well, I joke when I call it my secondment at Viacom. I had left Unilever for about 18 months, and that's where I met you. And let's say, I think that's almost 10 years ago.
I remember you put together some sort of presentation or perspective that just blew everyone's minds in terms of making us all think differently about the storytelling aspect of it. So this is Boss. You are one. Where did that kind of executive network, or how did you get there?
There are sort of two groups of people. There are the people who are like, I see this with my children. I want to be here when I'm that age, and I want to be here when I'm that age. And that was definitely not me. For me, my career has been like the squiggliest line ever. I mean, I started as a psych major in college, and then I went to law school and became a lawyer, and then I went to go work for an agency, and then ended up, in marketing. So for me, it was never about I need to be here by this age and here by this age. It was really about, could I learn from people? Could I do something that I was passionate about? And could I make a difference? And so what really enabled me to get where I am today is my bosses. And I've been so fortunate to have people in my life who I've worked for who really cared about me as a person and my development. And so that's why I was so excited. I mean, I love the word boss. My bosses have been champions, they've been mentors, and I'm still in touch with all of them today.
What are the most important leadership qualities for executives today? And I would go one step further and say, why did you choose to work for some of those bosses?
The definition of leadership, I see it as sort of twofold, right? There's the intellectual, the IQ, and then there's also the emotional and the EQ. And I think both are as equally important, if not more so now. From an IQ perspective, the world is changing so much. Every day is different. And I think leaders who can sort of think clearly about short-term, but also strategically about long-term, and balancing what needs to get done in the now without sacrificing creativity, without sacrificing innovation. And I think, from an emotional standpoint, an EQ standpoint, now about being vulnerable and being empathetic and over communicating in this time, because we're not able to sit in a room and be with people. So you're very much reading kind of the body language that someone's giving on a screen. And so for me, it's really about being so far away from my team, letting them know they can trust me. And how do they trust me? By me sharing things about myself that they may not know or they may not understand. And, we're all struggling during this time. And I think really being open and sharing some of those struggles, allows them to take a deep breath and say, okay, I can struggle too, and that's okay.
Or how did you really think about leading through this time?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the first and foremost, what concerns me is the health and safety of not only our teams, but also our members. And so it's almost this like very basic need. We would start each team meeting with a moment of gratitude and just going around with everyone saying, what are you grateful for? Because we know, especially because I work at a behavior change company, that those moments of gratitude actually lead to, better health and well-being. Getting up, I'm doing a 10,000 step challenge now with my team.
Back in college, I actually did do, then Weight Watchers, now WW. I did the points system because my parents were doing it. And so I did it in my head. But it was very helpful because no one knew that fat-free muffins were not a good thing.
Right. And by the way, I mean, I feel like I could not be working for a better company during this pandemic. I mean, to your point, like, being on our program, we have clinical trials that you sleep better, feel happier, lose weight. I mean, what better program to be on during COVID, but also on a greater mission to help and impact the lives of millions of people.
We all know the world needs more women and diversity in tech roles, data roles, marketing roles, leadership roles. We know that Citibank just announced Jane Fraser as its new CEO. Women make up only 4% of CEOs of public companies, and there are no Black women at the helm of any of these companies.
These statistics, they're staggering, they're sad, and they're unacceptable. And, for me, what is so puzzling to me is like, there is empirical data, right? That gender diversity and ethnic and cultural diversity in corporate leadership, that they outperform companies that have less diverse teams. So like, it's, it kind of boggles my mind that this is actually still a conversation. There are a few things that I personally can do. And I think it's really for everyone to sit back and say, in their position, what can they do? So for example, that was one of the reasons why I co-founded See Her. The recognition that the role that media plays on stereotyping girls and women, that perpetuates their ability to climb the ladders. And so for me, See Her was a big part galvanizing corporations around the country to come together and say, this is not okay, and let's make change. So for me, that was like a big part of what can I do to impact this? The second thing that I do that was important to me was, now being in the C-suite of a public company and being on the board of a public company, how can I be maniacally focused on helping the next generation come up? And so whether that's belonging to organizations or networking or referring people or mentoring, I mean, I must mentor right now maybe 100 women. And so that is part of like how I can give back and use my voice.
And speaking of other things that I love, our children. We are both working parents. There is a lot going on with back to school, I imagine. How are you doing?
Well, the crazy thing was, I was like, I in August became an empty nester. And so I've been kind of waiting my, entire life to be able to commute into the city and not have to feel guilty about rushing home for dinner and this and that. And then like COVID hits and I'm an empty nester and I am home alone all day. One of the things that my boss now, Mindy, talks about is thinking about the space in which we work, because there is a difference when you're all in a room together and whether it's a brainstorm or a planning session. So right now we're working on, kind of the future of our workspace and what that looks like.
One piece of advice for future bosses.
Always speak your truth.
One thing that you'll commit to do in 2020 to help pay it forward.
Help bring corporate and nonprofit leaders together to drive progress against UN SDG 2 with the launch of our Healthy Living Coalition.
What do you want to be known for over the next 6 to 12 months?
I would just like to be someone's light in a time of darkness. When you love what you do, when it is a calling versus a job or a career, it makes this world a better place. So I really want people to focus on, what is your calling? And as Shelley Zala says, when your passion meets purpose, you become unstoppable.
I love that. Gail, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me on Boss. This has been so much fun. Again, I think I do this just to connect also with everyone I want to talk to. Thank you again. Bye.